Could you tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, where you work, and what is your company into?
So, hi, Shrey. Thank you so much for this opportunity. This sounds like fun. This is quite exciting. This is for the first time that I'm doing this kind of a thing, and it's very nice to be here with you. So, yeah, I am functioning as an HR head for Adventist.io. This is an education marketplace, a B2B education marketplace. I've functioned in the HR for say 15 years now, having worked with companies like Flipkart, Snapdeal, Hero FinCorp, and I've been through different industries. I've worn different hats with respect to my role. I've practiced talent acquisition. I have been into HR operations, HRBP roles. So I've worn different hats, as I said. We are into study abroad business. It's a B2B education marketplace. And we have multiple student recruiters empaneled with us. We have partnered with universities and institutions in multiple geographies outside of India. So we help students go study abroad, and we help students enroll into the universities, institutions they aspire to get enrolled into. So to propel the boat, we have a dedicated sales team, an operations team, partnerships team, and of course a diligent support function, which consists of HR, finance, IT, and admin. I'll tell you a little more about the organization. So the story began in 2018 when our founders connected over a problem of how broken the study abroad market was, the international student recruitment market was, and they identified such issues as there was no efficient or a reliable way for institutions, recruiters, and the student to transact with each other. There was no one platform. So that's the kind of bridge Adventus became. That's the kind of bridge Adventus formed. So we have a sales team that acts as a inventory engine of the company. We identify quality institutions to partner with, and then we provide the inventory of our platform and the opportunities for our channel partners, colleagues to place students at these amazing study opportunities. So Adventus came as an opportunity for me to lead the entire function, to apply the knowledge that I have acquired till date. And it sounded like a challenge to me, one, and it sounded like a fun opportunity for me where I can actually realize and actualize my potential.
So, challenge
I,
you in what, like, what exactly were you seeking, which you got over here?
so, as the name suggests, leading something itself is a challenge, and it's not just about saying that you're leading something. It comes with great responsibility, a great degree of accountability, and of course, if you are leading a function, then you're responsible not only for the team that you are leading, you are responsible for the entire organization, especially being an HR head. And when I came in here, I saw a lot of issues, a lot of things that were broken. I was able to, put things, restore things. But yeah, so we had shifted our operations from Australia to India, and the team was new. Some people were already existing in the system, and there's a lot of hiring going on in here. So these kind of challenges, I think, I they really instigated me to take up this challenge, and I'm really enjoying my role ever since I've come in. And so yes,
Okay, cool. So, I want to know a bit about you now. So, uh, where have you come from? Like, why did you pick HR, and what has led you up to this point?
so I'll tell you a very funny story. Um, I know that nobody would tell you this about himself, but when I used to be a kid, I went for a summer job interview, and it was a BPO. Name is not necessary, but yeah, I went for that, and I was sitting. We were sitting across tables. Somebody was interviewing me, and I was pretty nervous. That was my first ever job interview. So when I came out of the room, obviously I was rejected in the interview. When I came out of the room, I realized that how powerful this job is. You know, you are sitting in a chair with a resume in hand, and you are evaluating that person on the other side of the table, and you are basically deciding for him, and deciding for that person. So that gave me a lot of motivation that I want to enjoy this power, and that's how I wanted to get into HR. back then never had an idea that HR is not only about interviewing people. It's about a lot of things. It's way beyond uh, how I could perceive of it. So yeah, that gave me the motivation. So I am an MSW from Jamia Millia Islamia, and I also have an HR specialization in industrial relations and personnel management. So that gave me quite a motivation that I should join HR function. When I came here, obviously things were way beyond what I read in books, way beyond what I had experienced in life by then. And now that I realize HR is a very important function, HR is very challenging because hey, managing people is the most difficult task under the sun. You can manage processes, you can establish policies, but who would get the people to adhere to those policies? Who would get the people to adhere to the processes, to follow a line of conduct that you want to establish? So there's more to it. In fact, HR is not a support function in today's scenario. Not just a support function. We are partnering with business to propel the boat for the business. That's what HR is, and that's how I enjoy my role. Being in this important position, I have been managing the task of connecting with employees, understanding the ground realities, understanding the on challenges that they have, then sharing the business insights with the business leaders. That helps them to understand how to get connected, me being the bridge between the people and them, how to get connected to their people on ground and letting the business propel they want to propel it.
Okay, so is it the responsibility of the business to convey to the HR that no, 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 your role is much more bigger than just hiring people? Or is it the responsibility of the HR to go above and beyond and to prove the business that, see, this is my true potential? So, what kind of is it?
It works both ways. So obviously, with this kind of experience that I come in here, I know what responsibility I should be taking up. I know the challenges. I see the gaps. I know how to fill them up. I have the right people in place to help me fill those gaps. And of course, during the course of discussions with the business leaders, I get to understand what are the immediate requirements that I must address.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, so you got into HR, let's say 15 years ago, right? Now,
Yes.
HR was different back then, and now it's something different as well. So, what change has happened in the last 15 years, in your opinion?
So this change has been broad. This change has been different in terms of the approach people have taken up to. What approach we used to follow when we were kids, what approach the kids in today's scenario are following. So there's a whole lot of difference in the human approach towards the profession and towards the work ethics have undergone a change. Obviously, there is a change in the technology. There is a change in the work mode. People are more comfortable working remotely. Even if I talk about the interviews, I must tell you that candidates, when I call them, when I invite them for discussions for different positions and roles that I want to hire in the organization, not everybody is very happy to come down for a physical, say, meeting for an in-person meeting. So I think COVID has been a great contributor. But I think, see, I how I look at it, I understand AI coming into the picture. I understand COVID explaining it to us that, hey, yes, this is another way that you can operate. You can operate from home. You can operate from anywhere. Maybe if you want to go to hills and you want to remain in a very different environment, but yet remain connected to your business, to your people. That's true, but still, human interactions still have a very special place in the profession and in my heart as well. But this is human resources, and without a human interaction, which is in person, face to face, things don't have as much meaning as they would mean to me, or as they would mean to the interaction that's taking place when it is a face-to-face meeting. So there's a lot of things that have undergone a change. We are managing that change for ourselves. We are managing that change for people. There are certain critical roles for which the decision making becomes a little difficult when you are just evaluating people online. So it becomes very important at times to meet them face to face. So I think this is one point that I would like to raise as you spoke to me about the change that has taken place ever since.
Understood. So, I want to talk a bit about that remote thing that you mentioned earlier. So, obviously, the people want to work remotely. Most people nowadays, and but you're saying that human relationships are better. Now, you know that for them as a human, even in their career, it's going to be better for them to come at work, not just for the company, but for themselves. It's going to be better. So, how do you kind of convince people when they themselves have a different perception of what's best for them? We're all fed up of Naukri, Apna, Indeed. There's 500 applications and one or two of them are good, barely. In the job market, there are two types of candidates. There is active candidates and there is passive candidates. Active candidates are those that are actively looking for a job, whereas passive candidates are the ones that, let's say, I'm just working at a company and I'm not looking for a job, but if someone were to offer me a job, I would consider that. I'd be like, okay, what's the company? What salary are you offering? What this and that? And you can search this up. 70% of the job market isn't even looking for a job, but how can we tap into them? That's where Recruva comes in. So I've started their free trial recently. They're giving a free 7-day free trial. Go to LinkedIn and search for any kind of job role that you're looking for. Let's say people, and you can narrow this down with company, location, whatever industry they are in. Like you can filter this out with anything that you want. Once you're done with the filtration, you simply have to copy this, and you can go here and import these people into the software. So if you search contact search, just click the import button. It will just simply import these people into the software. Now what you can do after that is create an automation where people like these are reached out to automatically. So just to give you an example, this automation is essentially going and reaching out to all these people on LinkedIn, and the message looks something like this. So we're looking for a Java and Spring Boot developer with team lead experience in Delhi. Let me know if you'd be open for a fresh start. Happy to share more details. So this automation goes out to all the people. Look at the acceptance rate on this. 41% of the people that we send this message to are accepting it. 38% on this one. So we can see this one is more effective, but you get the point. These are high quality leads of suitable candidates, and you can send follow ups in case they don't respond. You can do all sorts of stuff over here. So basically, you are targeting for the first time ever people that are exactly suitable to your job role. You are targeting them at scale. This has never been possible until now. So head over to recruva.io and start your 7-day free trial. Explore the platform. They will guide you through exactly step by step how to set this up. It's extremely easy because once you set it up, you'll get candidates like just coming in. So you can see over here in the chat area, all the people that reply, they'll just come over here, and you can, without opening LinkedIn, like essentially you can connect those LinkedIn accounts over here from which you are sending these messages, and all those messages come over here in a centralized place. I'm not going to open any because of like privacy reasons, but I've been testing this. It's working amazingly so far. You should definitely check it out. If you're a business owner, your HR will thank you for the amount of time saved and the amount of money saved with this platform. And if you're an HR watching this, your business, like your boss, he is gonna thank you for using this because you're saving so much time. You're reducing the number of days it takes to hire. You're saving money on that as well, and you're getting high quality people that are very keen to join your company. All right, so let's get back to the podcast, and no more disturbances from now. Enjoy the show.
First of all, let me tell you that I am not against remote working. I'm absolutely not against it. It is good as long as people understand their responsibility. As we all know, there's an old saying that With great freedom comes greater responsibility. So when you're a part of the business, uh, I've been told this by a manager of mine in my first or second company, that if you want to work for a company, if you're working in a business, please assume that this is your own business. This is your own. This is your own thing, and which you are running. You are running this business. Then only will you have that kind of a responsibility and that kind of a maturity which your role requires. Because if you believe that, okay, I have a job here, I'm being given salary, these are the tasks that I have to perform during the day, during the week, during the month, and hey, that's okay. There are things which are way beyond it. And when you talk about, and now linking remote working to this concept, if you're working remotely, then you should not believe that you are at home. Mostly, most of us, work from home has been a partial holiday. Okay, which I believe that, okay, I am at home. You're not at home, you are working from home, and that's the thin line that you need to understand. Say, I am at work, but I'm not at the work. I'm not at the designated workplace. Maybe I'm operating remotely, but I'm operating for all the right reasons and in all the right manner. So I'm not saying that working remotely or work from home is bad. Obviously, everything has its own challenges, but there are pros and cons. When you work from home, you save the time to commute. You are able to, if at all you want to, you are able to give more time to your work. You would want to finish tasks more efficiently, as you do not want to add that kind of a stress to your life, that you are operating between commuting between places. I think with 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 that said, I think people should be responsible for their work, and especially this. My voice goes out to the youngsters. You have energy, you have enthusiasm. This is the time of life where you don't have added responsibilities. This is the time when you want to prove your worth. This is the time when you want to learn more, become more, and maybe inspire more to the generations that are following you. So working remotely is not a challenge, Shrey, but I think people should realize the responsibility behind it.
Yeah. So, but is it fair for somebody, all kind of positions, to act like as if they own their business? Because only a business owner would know what comes with that. It's not a job. It's like 24/7. You cannot even sleep at night many nights. So, is that fair to expect that from all the positions?
Expectation is not such that you should have sleepless nights. You should behave like an entrepreneur. But yeah, you should understand that if you realize that this is your own business, then with that thought, with that realization comes a responsibility that I must finish this, and I must finish this. I should not wait for a deadline, or I should not wait for a reminder. That is how you realize yourself professionally in a better manner. That is how you believe that you can perform your tasks more efficiently. If you know that this is your own thing and this has to go, you cannot take liberty of just taking additional breaks, or you cannot you will not. So I'll tell you what. So when I work, I'll give you an example from my own life. So when I work, there have been days when I believe that I should take an off today. I'm not in a mood to go to the office. But on the other hand, at the same point in time, if I believe that this is something that I must address at my work, this is a task that I must perform, or say, this should go today. I should not be waiting for tomorrow. Then it instigates me to come to the office. Maybe I want to take a maybe I want to leave early from office. But yeah, that's the kind of responsibility I have towards my work. I do not depend on my leave balance. I do not depend on my on the benefits that the company is happy to provide me, because I have this responsibility toward my work. These are my work ethics, and that's the message that I want to give to the youngsters, that uh, realize that responsibility where you are bringing in a change. And
Hmm.
you never know, you may be called as the pioneer of that change.
Hmm.
So you might want to be counted amongst the generation which saw this transition from a physical working space to a remote working operations, but still you achieved milestones like anything. So nothing, I'm not in favor of either of the two, or I'm not in against, so to say. But yeah, for work ethics should not go for a toss. They
Okay.
should not get affected. They should not be questioned. So this is all what I have to say
Okay.
about this.
So I kind of felt while you were saying this that if somebody wants to treat the place that they work at as their own business, you
Hmm.
need to have a emotional connect with where you work. You need to be enjoying, not enjoying, but you need to feel that nahi ye mera hai. Like I matter.
Correct.
So
Correct.
is that the
So that
responsibility of the
emotion should
HR to?
be that emotion should be there in your work. That
Hmm.
you should always love your work, because this is what you are going to do until the major part of your life. You have studied, although you should remain a student all your life. You should keep learning, but then your work is something that gives you an identification, that gives you a position in the social circle you're a part of, that gives you a personality, and that gives you the status that you want to have in life. And
Hmm.
you are going to continue doing this until the age of 60, 65 years in your life, maybe beyond. People have worked even beyond that. I would not spare mentioning about my grandfather who died at the age of 91, and he was working until say 85. So there are people, should not miss a mention of Sir Ratan Tata,
Hmm.
who has been an example not only for the nation but beyond. N.R. Narayan Murthy, we have n number of examples in India, within our country, in our neighborhood, where we can see people working relentlessly, not only to create a fortune for themselves, but to have an example led for others, for the generations. Must not spare a mention of Shah Rukh Khan, has been a laborious celebrity. He realizes the importance of being a celebrity. And you see, many people, many faces have come and gone, but he has been constant. That's because of the quality that he possesses. That's because of the work ethics that he has. That's because of the sense of commitment that he has. And coming back and jumping back to where we were, this is the kind of commitment that we look forward to, and that we must look forward to. Generations would come, would go, technologies would transition, technologies would change, remote working, physical working, these would keep getting into a debate. Maybe we all start operating remotely. But then work ethics is something that are going to remain there. Human interactions are something that are going to remain there, without which it is impossible to function, is all I'm saying.
Okay. So my question is, can HR instill that in somebody, or is it a personality trait?
HR can instill the values that it wants to, the
And how can
organizational
they?
values. Obviously, it is done through connects. It is done through connecting with business leaders, giving the business insights to the second in line staff. And of course, it is important for all the employees in an organization to realize those business values, because that is how. See, where does my salary come from? It comes from the revenue that a business generates. And if I realize that I have to justify my salary, this has been a very old concept, and very strict one for salespeople, where they were asked to justify their salary, not only the incentive but the salary. That you are here for bringing in revenue, and if you are not generating revenue, then you're not required. That was a very fierce culture. But now look at the same thought with a softer perspective. What if my salary stops coming tomorrow? And how will that happen? That will happen only once the business stops functioning. Business would not stop functioning if I would not stop functioning. And so to say, if I'm functioning better, if I'm functioning diligently, then so will my business. And for my business to grow, it is important that being a small cog in the machine, small link in the chain, I must perform efficiently. So it cannot happen. Every individual is important, and that is how I instill values amongst my employees. That see, we are important because you are important. If your importance diminishes today, my importance will decrease, will go for a toss. If you are proving your relevance in the organization, so long as you are doing it, I will remain relevant in the organization. See, business is not only run by business leaders. It is foot soldiers have a lot of importance. Can you imagine an army with a general but no soldiers? No, not possible. So that's what I'm saying here. So to instill that value, you just not need to instill in any values. You just need to make them realize how important they are. That's the key to people management. Make them realize how important they are, and they are important. Without them, without people, no business can be run.
Okay.
And
So
that's why
how
we
is
need
what?
for people management.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So how is what you said right now related with leadership development? Because I see somewhere these two topics are connected, where you're trying to get people to work, you're trying to get them to treat the business like it's their own. I feel that that naturally happens as you go up the
Absolutely, that's a
hierarchy of
process.
command.
That's a process, and the two concepts are very well connected. If I realize as an employee, for example, I am an executive. Let's go back to the time when I started my job. When I was an executive talent acquisition, and my job was to close, say, 4 or 5 positions a month, or say 7, 8 positions a month. What if I realize that okay, I'm done with my work. I don't want to add anything more to it. I will develop the leader within me once I'm done completing what I need to complete being an executive. Once I have learned the business totally, once I have understood all the concepts clearly, then only can I pass on this to people who would join next to me. And that is how I would realize my position as a leader. I execute things, then I start mentoring people. So once I'm successfully having mentored people, I can become a leader. Anybody, why would somebody, for example, Shrey, if I have to consider you as my leader, why would I look forward to you, or why would I look up to you as a leader? Because I see a lot of things in what Shrey is doing, that I cannot do it. That probably what I want to do, but in a manner you are doing it. So that is how I look up to a person, and that is how I see a leader in that person. And for doing that, it's important that we work efficiently, we learn what we are doing efficiently, and we are able to inspire others to do it in the same fashion or even better. So leadership development is a very important, and thanks for bringing up this topic. I have a lot of other things also to attach to it, because when we are developing leaders within the business, then it comes it comes with a package of things. You must motivate your high potential employees. You must identify their potential, and that has to be rewarded from time to time. That's how a leader develops, because a leader cannot just uh, be pulling a cart. He needs to be given that fuel. He needs to be given that motivation. He or she. Then only a leader develops himself or herself, and that's how it helps the business in return. Because one, that he is an employee is doing his or her job very efficiently, learning the business, mastering things, mastering concepts, going a step above, going up the ladder. But then that's the kind of motivation a person is looking forward to. That one, that an employee is promoted timely, or being given the salary increments, that because we all work for money is very important. And that's one of the primary concepts. There used to be a time when people used to judge people who work for money. We all are working for money. Let's
Mm.
sacrifice. money is a very important factor that plays its part in our lives. So you must compensate your employees well if you want to develop good leaders in them. Else, the other option is that you leave an employee demotivated or not properly motivated, and a leader not properly developed there. You leave that task incomplete there, and you want to hire another leader from the outside of the market because
Mm.
you see that your current staff does not have that kind of a substance. But maybe as an employer or as an HR leader, maybe you left a stone unturned. Maybe you would want to you would have checked that you would have ticked that checkbox and ensured that there were certain things that were supposed to be done and you did that. So yeah, that's very important.
Do you feel like these days just people have gotten better at knowing their worth, so they are tolerating less nonsense from companies? I'll give you an example. Let's
Hmm.
say if I am a super smart person,
Hmm.
let's say 50 years ago, I would kind of diligently stay in that company. I would kind of tolerate a bit of slack from the boss. Now, like the what I've seen is it's become an employee market where the employees have started to dictate the terms and conditions instead of the other way around what used to be before. Is that because of a talent shortage? Is that like why is that happening?
I agree with you partially because so no, these are the concepts that keep varying from time to time. When there are plenty of jobs in the market, then that kind of a thought, people are leading that kind of a thought, that kind of a lifestyle with, I mean, I would say they have that kind of a approach where they want
I
to
mean,
dictate
why
things.
this is relevant with
Everyone must
leadership
realize.
development?
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm saying why this is relevant with leadership development is because if a company fails to recognize the potential of somebody or fails to reward somebody for their, uh, you can say, extra efforts, that person knows, ki, hey man, I'll be valued somewhere else. Bye bye.
Yeah, all right. But how about this? That I know my potential, I know my worth. Being today's, being a part of the today's world, I know my worth. Should I? But that does not mean that I should not have that sense of respect for my colleagues and my employer. That's very important. It is
Yeah.
people what you are earning at the end of the day. You can earn money here or maybe somewhere else. You can prove your worth anywhere else. This world is huge. You cannot just remain limited to one company or one state or one territory or one country. The arenas are open. But then what will go with you everywhere is your attitude. You will carry that attitude everywhere. You are in India, you want to do the same thing in America, you want to do the same thing in United Kingdom, Australia. Your attitude will go with you everywhere. Gratitude will go with you everywhere, and this is what I need. This is what I want that people should correct about themselves. That okay, yes, you are talented, you have your worth, you know your worth, you can prove your worth to employees. You should not tolerate any nonsense. Absolutely correct. You should not be dictated by those dictator managers. But then again, you should have that kind of a respect for everyone. That mutual respect always pays off, Shrey.
Okay. So what can a company do? What can an HR do to uh, convince? It's like a sales negotiation that the HR has to do. Ki, listen, we understand your worth. You are better off here. So how can businesses and HRs get better at retaining these star candidates?
First part of your question, I would answer first. One that you should always pick and choose your people wisely. Once you are interviewing and evaluating people, you should not hurry it up by saying that okay, this position is very urgent, this role is very critical for me. Let's hire a person. See, you can hire a person maybe 10 days later also, waiting for the right candidate. But if you end up hiring the wrong person, that causes you the loss of time. loss of money, and loss of energy. So, one, that you should pick your people wisely so that you can drive the values that you want to drive amongst those. Uh, People who are flexible, they would always be a part of good culture. And conversely, saying a good culture would be driven when people are flexible. People respect each other. If there is no respect, see, this company, any business is just like a family. We understand each other's needs, we understand each other's values, we understand each other's, we respect each other. If that element is missing in any family, that family ends up breaking. So is with the organization. Culture is a very important aspect of any organization, and for that to happen, for a good culture to uh, remain for an organization, it's important for its people to realize mutual respect. So if you go to any company's website, and if you want to understand what are the organizational values of these, you would see two concepts, two values in common. So pick 10 companies, okay, take a sample of 10 companies, go to their websites, see what the organizational values are. Respect and integrity is something you would see everywhere. Everywhere. Because that is how units run. Teams, be it a cricket team, be it a family, be it a company, the foundation of any successful company, any successful unit is based on these two things. We have to be true to ourselves, we have to be honest, we have to do the right thing, and we must respect each other. You could be talented, I could be talented. Our talents could, you know, merge with each other and we can do wonders. But if we have that ego hassle that, hey, I am more talented than you, the respect is all gone. And that's where teams fail, that's where units fail. Yeah.
Okay, so the HR kind of is hyper aware of the culture that is there in the company, right? So they know it in and out. So, and there's constant interviews happening as well. So how can someone identify, is it even possible to identify if somebody will be a good fit or not before they have even worked at the company by just talking to them, interviews, tests, and all this other stuff? One thing I've seen is, I've suggested to a few companies, is that do some kind of a trial, like it's a paid 14-day work with us, 7 days work with us, see how you fit in. Do you like us? Because if you don't like us, it won't work. And then, is the company liking the employee, obviously? So what do you have to say on interviews and their effectiveness?
Interviews can be made effective. Yes, there could be effective methods to interview people, to judge them or to evaluate them, to ensure that we are picking the right person for the job. But still, I would say, I had read this in psychology back in university days, that human behavior is the most unpredictable thing. I could be reacting to a situation in a particular way today, but maybe given some other situation, I would react to the same situation differently. So, for a person to remain constant in a situation, in a situation, or at different times in different situations, it's important to be calm. It's important to be emotionally, emotionally calculative. So it's so to judge these things or to evaluate these things in a first round of conversation, or say for 4 or 5 rounds of conversations, um, we cannot ascertain to the maximum possible extent that this is the right person we are picking up. But yeah, few rounds of conversation definitely do give us a fair amount of idea of whom we are meeting, whom we are speaking to. See, businesses can be taught, people can be trained. But again, I would say, again, I would talk about the attitude. Attitude is something which will go with you everywhere. And that attitude is visible. If I speak to you in a polite manner today, and if I meet you tomorrow, I speak to you in a polite manner again. Why do multiple rounds of interview happen? They want to
Hmm.
check uniformity in their behavior. uniformity in their responses, uniformity in their attitude. So
One funny thing I thought of right now. My parents often tell me this. So, pehle, like everyone used to get like arranged marriages and this and that, and now it's like ठीक है, pehle it was like talking, talking, talking. So basically, it's like you're talking, you're liking that person, you're married. Now it's like talking, and then they're like it's like a trial period. Okay, they'll probably live together, and they get like a free trial kind of. So that's the similarity I thought of right now.
that doesn't help, Shrey. That doesn't help.
Huh.
I
Yeah.
can vouch for it because, see, again, love marriage, arranged marriage, live in relationships, you do not know how how are you behaving in a given situation today. Will you be behaving in the same situation tomorrow? There will be addition of more stress to your life. You could be happier at a later stage. You could be more caught up and stressed at a later stage in life. What's important again is the attitude, respect for each other. Just like that, yeah. It's just like marrying someone only. When you are interviewing
Mm,
someone, when you are, that's what we do in marital interviews also, right? And when you are meeting people, matrimonial interviews, you meet
correct,
a
I correct.
person, you share your dislikes and likes, you try to understand where you come from, where I come from, all that happens, and then you enter the wedlock. But you actually get to see a person, and whatever he or she told me during that kind of an interaction, are we really getting on with it? Because hey, this is a situation before us, and that is how he's behaving, and I was not expecting him or her to behave in this manner. Okay,
People change.
people change. Human behavior is very dynamic. It is not static. It is not like a machine that it will run in the same manner and it'll end in the same manner. No, people change because of the environmental changes, because of the motivation they are getting or not getting, because of the kind of successes or failures they have faced in life. Just like people are people are very different in their approaches dealing with their failures. Some people just shatter, some people just get even more stronger with more and more failures. Okay. Yeah. So the same principle applies in here when we are interviewing a person. We could evaluate a person basis a few things. Few psychometric tests may fall in place. We may get good results, but that only proves the uh, reality of the person to a certain extent. When we start working that person in the due course of time, we get to understand, and then we adjust. I cannot do this. That I have hired Shrey for a position of software engineer. I had laid down my expectations very clearly to him on the day one, and after 90 days, this is what I see, which is unusual, and I never expected it. Then I try to adjust myself, and when the person, I am his environment, I am his or her environment, when the person observes that yes, my environment is also adjusting to my expectations, then I also start adjusting my expectations to the environment. That is how
Mm,
relations are built. That is how successful teams are built. That is how a person loves to remain a part of the company for a longer time.
yeah. So you mentioned adjustment. Okay, yeah. You're going?
That's one of those things. One of the
Okay,
things.
okay.
Obviously, there are other motivational factors for a person to remain a part of the company for a longer time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we spoken a lot about interviews and all, and we spoke specifically about adjusting. But breakups also do happen.
Yes, they
When
do.
should someone know, okay, acha, I need to leave now? How should one leave? And most importantly, why do people leave?
Why do people leave? Uh, People leave because of multiple factors again. I would again say where they believe they are not getting the right money, they are not getting the respect they want to deserve, they are not getting the kind of environment that they expected, they leave. Now, here's where the HR steps in, and HR must step in. At times, what happens that I may perceive of myself as being the righteous guy. Maybe I'm the right person. I'm doing everything right. Maybe the HR has to step in to counsel the employee to make him or her realize the mistakes that he or she has been making, or maybe a few miss outs, few things that a person missed looking at, few things that a person missed taking into account. That kind of counseling is very important. Just like it happens in the families. I am being a very good boy to my parents. Why are my parents reprimanding me, or why are my parents restricting me from doing something that I want to do? Then the parents come in and uh, based on a good parenting skill, they kind of counsel the child that okay, this is where you are going, and these may be the consequences. You should refrain from doing this stuff, and you should focus more on this part because this will bring you more success. This will bring you more happiness in your life. That's how we do it in families. The similar way we have to do it with employees. We must make them realize that they are choosing the right path. And if they choose the right path, their succession can be planned no later than today. Because if we know, if we have been told by the business leader that this is the path that an employee must follow, and if we are making the employee choose the right path and moving along it, then I think that becomes important that becomes very easy for the employee to understand where he or she
Hmm.
was wrong, and now what the course of action that one must take. So why do people leave? Again, reflecting on that, sometimes people leave their managers, sometimes people leave the environment, the culture. Sometimes people leave for a better opportunity, for better money, which maybe the company may or may be in a situation to give that. So at times, speaking of the third point that I just mentioned, it's always good. And good people must encourage other good people in their team to take up the right opportunity available to them and maintain a good relationship even afterwards. You must have realized you're working for a company, you leave for a better opportunity on a very amicable note. You have been a very efficient performer in the company, but maybe the growth horizons that you are looking at, maybe your company is not in a situation to provide them to you. But you end that relationship, that professional relationship, on a very amicable note.
I don't
And
think it's an end of the relationship. I think
I'm
it's like,
coming on to it.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
coming.
yeah.
So
It'll
you
always
end
come back to you in the future.
So you end your employment, not
Yeah, yeah,
relationship. By
yeah, yeah,
ending the
yeah.
relationship means ending the professional association with that company. So you end that association, you go, but you still remain connected to your people in your with your previous employment, and that's how I have seen things working. And on the contrary, there have been people who do not realize the importance of each other, and they just don't end these things amicably, and they end up having a disturbed relationship or maybe no relationship. Human relations are very important to yesterday, today, or tomorrow. No matter what augmented reality tells you, no matter what artificial intelligence is suggesting you, human relations would always remain important. They are never going to lose their value, never going to lose their importance. And if you bear good human values, let me tell you, unless there is a very good opportunity awaiting a person, people would not leave at a higher rate, or at a very rapid rate. So people leaving not so good managers, or bad managers, I don't want to use value laden words, but yeah, this happens at times where people leave their managers that, okay, I was very happy to associate myself with this company, XYZ company, but my terms are not coming along well with my manager, and I want to leave. I do not wish to continue working with this person. Or maybe when that person leaves, the team is very happy, the team is very relaxed. Because see, gone are the days when you would want to dictate your team, when you would want to, you just want to have the reins of just like the reins of the horses in your hands. No, that doesn't work. You have to work as a unit. You have to sensitize them about what you think is right. You cannot just dictate them about what you think is right. There's a thin line of difference. You're still telling them what's right to do, but the manner which you choose in telling them is of utmost importance. Yeah, I would summarize saying that so one, that it was a very good discussion, very insightful, and I must say that I would still urge people to realize the importance of their work. That's how they are going to have a very happy personal life as well. You should not ever overpower either of the two with with things, that you should not overpower your personal life with your work, nor should you overpower your work life with your personal things. So you should keep them separate, but you should be efficient in managing the relationships both at work and in the family. That is how you will grow up to be a happy human being. That is how you will live like a happy human being.